Hi Siri, I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Mathews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Mathews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Mathews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. Where you only have a few more days left, folks. All your jewelry purchases in the month of June, 0% APR until 2030. Hopefully we'll still be around in 2030. JC, if you go, never mind. JC, on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're going to have JC, then we'll have Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel.
All right.
All of college football. I want to get his thoughts a little bit on Scott Frost coming back to UCF. JC,
Yeah.
can we see that shirt a little bit? Can you raise it up?
Yeah, there they
Is
are.
that 35? Let me guess, $35.
45.
$45.
Let me tell you what's amazing about these two ladies right here. And I'm not a big band guy. You know this. I don't do concerts. But I'll tell you something. I sat in the amphitheater in St. Augustine, Florida for the first time in my life. And I had a great time. And I didn't expect to be as good as it was. We have two 70-year-old women rocking and rolling up there as if it was 1978 when they were in front of 300,000 people at California Jam 2. And it's incredible. Nancy Wilson, who's 71 years old, hops around like she's in her 40s. Ann Wilson, who's got a great voice but has had health problems, had cancer last year. They had to cancel their 24 tour as she was treated for cancer, and she's out there belching out the lyrics last night. I don't know, man. I know they hire all these guys for the guitars and the drums, but that band was as good as you could expect from a band that's 50, 60 some odd years old. So it's incredible. So I saw that. It was the first concert I've been to in St. Augustine. I have to say it was not a disappointment at all. I enjoyed that.
Are you going back?
Well, it depends on who's playing, right? I mean, it depends on the act that's there. But, I mean, I'm not going to go see John Fogerty. I'm not going to go see.
What if Rat or Poison showed up?
No, I don't know if I can handle that at my age.
Harley Daniels?
I don't know.
I'll go to that.
I mean, listen, they have some great shows there. The place is considered one of the top venues in the world, really.
How much was your ticket?
$82.
Okay.
I was sitting low, though, quite low.
I can't believe you spent $45 on that T-shirt.
Yeah, man.
You just wanted to wear it on the show, didn't you?
And that's, dude, I don't have any musical shirts.
Okay, let me ask you this
is
question.
the first and only one I've
Where
ever
in the hell are you going to wear that shirt?
Right here on PodUp with Shane Mathews.
You'll never wear it again after today.
No, I'll wear it. I'll wear it. I mean, I have a friend here at the condo who loves music and goes to all. He's got season tickets at the amphitheater, just like you'd have season tickets at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
Yeah.
And he goes to all the shows, so he's into it. I don't know. I may wear it for our friend Jay Bird, who probably doesn't even know who these girls are. But I'm telling you, for somebody that age to be able to do
They were getting after it. All right.
That was impressive. So I saw that last night. I also went and we'll get to sports in a minute, but this is human interest stories. I went to Window World in St. Augustine to price out some sliders for the condo. And
you're preparing for hurricanes.
I mean, you'd be shocked at how much simple sliding glass doors cost these days. I fell on the floor, but I'm going to buy them because I have to, basically. I don't want water to get in when Hurricane Shane comes rolling through in September, which, by the way, is the peak of hurricane season, which is also the beginning of college football season. We deal with this every year in the state of Florida, every single year.
I think we need to put a gate up and don't let anybody else into the state of Florida.
Well, listen, I just hope we get through it without any. I mean, last couple of years have been tough in the state of Florida for hurricanes.
Yeah.
Just awful. So we'll see.
Shelvin says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Yesterday, Buddy said he wanted to hear from the fans about his football players versus track athletes fundraiser race idea. Well, this fan calls it dumb. All right, thanks, Shelvin. And then Barone71 says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Will Miles was on with Gator Dave last night. Aside from his normal Garrett Nussmeier bashing, he kicked it up a notch and started knocking his little brother, who he has never seen play once. You know, Will Miles, who writes Read and Reaction, does a good job with that magazine, but he ranks his quarterbacks in there. JC, I don't know if you're aware of this. Where do you think he had Garrett Nussmeier ranked?
5.
11th in the conference.
I don't understand that. I think the kid's excellent.
He's very good.
I think he's going off of some of the disappointing games from last season, which is not really fair. But let me say this. Let me give you a tweet from College Sports Only from the old ball coach on the Arch.
Oh, that was great.
You saw this?
Yeah.
What was your well, let me read it, then I want your reaction. Most people are picking Texas to win the SEC in football. They've got Arch Manning already winning the Heisman. My question is, if he was this good, how come they let Quinn Ewers play all the time last year? He was a 7th-round pick. I mean, it's just Coach Spurrier. He's got a point in some respect, but one year has nothing to do with the next. And
Arch did play a little bit last year when he was hurt.
It was just
Coach probably forgot. I need to tell Coach, I didn't even get drafted. Okay.
Yeah.
So
and
draft picks don't really mean anything to me.
Yeah. And let's also remember,
he was the number 1 quarterback in America, I think, when he came out of high school.
Yeah,
he's a good player, man.
He's a good player.
Very good college player.
We also have to remember when Tim Tebow showed up, he was just a role guy his first year. Okay, he didn't play really. Yeah. He just did a couple of small things out there, just like Manning. Manning is everybody's Heisman Trophy favorite. Now it's very early and maybe very premature, but I think this kid. Listen, with Steve Sarkisian back there showing him the ropes of how to play the position and where to put the football and how to get the football in the end zone, how can this kid not be a very –
He'll have a good year. Sark's the best play caller, schemer in the business.
I think that's 100% right. Yeah. And I do like, what Lane Kiffin does. I do. But I think Ryan Day is very good. But I think you're right about Steve Sarkisian. There's no doubt in my mind. So I thought that was funny hearing Coach say that. And he's allowed to say that. He's 80 years old and he's a Hall of Famer. And he banks at Florida Credit Union, by God.
You're damn right.
So
not Florida Credit Union, JC.
It's not
Campus USA Credit Union.
Okay, that's what I meant. I mean, credit union here, credit union there, but that's what I meant. Campus USA. I don't mean to confuse that. I mean, I got Florida Credit Union on my mind because it's by Publix and I see it all the time. But Campus USA. That's
Daryl's text on the Titan Mar text line. And folks, it's that time of the year. There ain't a whole lot to talk about.
It's okay. I got some pop topics for you.
Yeah, I got something I want to bring up in a minute too here. Good morning, guys. Shane, you would probably agree. I would rather go see Riley Green or Luke Combs, but the original Leonard Skinner band used to practice now from my childhood home. Yeah, but Riley Green, Riley may have gone to the amphitheater a few years ago.
Oh,
he's too big. Sure. Luke Combs ain't showing up in St. Augustine.
Not in that facility. There's only 3,500 seats, but yeah. I'll tell you, it got pretty loud. It was very nice for a St. Augustine community. It's very nice. For the acts that come there, it's perfect. So, okay, yeah, Luke Combs, he's going to be in, football stadiums.
He plays in big venues.
Yeah, he's going to be.
I saw this yesterday. I want to get your thoughts. I don't know if you're very familiar with it. I was talking to somebody when I was out of town yesterday about this. There's a company called Big League Advance, like agents, financial planners, where they go to rising stars or people they think, basically you're buying stock into these athletes and you say, okay, here, we'll give you $2 million up front while they're young, but we're going to get 10% of your future earnings.
Equity, ownership.
So listen to this. Fernando Tatis Jr. is suing this company, Big League Advance, which gave the Padres star $2 million when he was in the minor leagues for exchange for 10% of his future earnings. Tatis owes them $34 million off
He's
his new
gonna
contract.
he's gonna settle for probably half that, 17, and get him out of the way. If you sign a contract, it's going to be hard to.
I want to say somebody that was showing me this said that Gervon Dexter did that last year, I think his last year at Florida. And then he didn't want to pay back when he was with the Bears. I don't know enough about it, but it's kind of interesting because I'm
Yeah.
sure this company has failed on some of their
Oh yeah.
money.
Oh
But
yeah.
could you imagine saying, this we'll give you $2 million, and then they turn around and the player owes them $34 million.
Right. And
That's a pretty good return, JC.
that's a great return. It's hard to beat that, but that $2 million has been spent on other guys that petered out in other cases. So this company is running a business, and when they pay on a contractual obligation, they are entitled to a return on their investment if you believe in contract law. So Tatis is going to pay them something. He's going to have.
There's no question.
And when you've got 300, so if he owes 34 million, that means he's around 340 million with the Padres on the current contract. Be a decent guy and live up to your obligations, okay, Fernando. All right, and then
I'm surprised his dad. I don't even know if he talks to his dad, but I'm surprised his dad let him take that $2 million.
I mean, yeah, I guess his dad wasn't going to give it to him, so he decided to go the other route. But yeah, I think it's a great. It's called entrepreneurship. It's called America. It's called it's called investing. Is what it's called. So you take risk when you do that. Modified risk, of course. So EA Sports QB has this poll, EA Sports poll, the top 10 toughest places to play in college football. And I read the top list. I'm going to give you the top 10, and then I want your opinion. Now, to me, after I read this top 10 poll, I thought of nothing more than just a nostalgic list of schools, because I don't believe this is the case. But in terms of the toughest place to play, would you say that metric is by virtue of noise or wins and losses? To me, it's about wins and losses.
Well, I think it's a combination.
Everywhere's loud.
I think it's a combination of the atmosphere, the noise level, and
has to be wins.
What kind of team is on the field?
Right, and it has to be regarded as wins and losses for me, because if you're always going there and winning, it's not hard to win. It's not a tough place to play. I don't care about noise. Noise goes away in the first quarter when the home team's down 21-3. Okay, top 10 toughest places to play. And some of the schools they deleted here blow my mind. But 1, they have LSU. 2, they have Beaver Stadium. 3, they have Ohio Stadium. 4, Sanford Stadium. 5, Bryant-Denny. 6, Clemson Memorial. 7, Ben Hill Griffin. 8, Gaylord Family. 9, Autzen, and 10, Michigan. I didn't see anything with Tennessee. I saw nothing with Texas A&M, and I saw nothing with
what were those last 3 you just said? What schools?
Oklahoma, Gaylord Family Stadium in Oklahoma.
Where the hell is that?
That's Oklahoma.
I didn't know it was called the Gaylord
Family Stadium. Yeah. Gaylord. It's Oklahoma and Norman. Autzen Stadium, you know what that is.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous to me, 50,000 fans, but they do win there all the time. And then Michigan's place, the Big House, which has twice as many folks at Autzen Stadium and isn't loud at all, really. So the way I look at this is, first of all, it's definitely LSU is in there, but they can't be thought of as number one. I mean, every year Alabama plays at LSU, it turns into Happy Valley, okay? It's not Death Valley. Beaver Stadium, I've seen Penn State lose to Ohio State and other teams plenty of times. Ohio, I give absolutely the Buckeyes for sure. Sanford Stadium, nobody wins at Georgia, so yeah, that makes sense. Bryant-Denny, I can count on one hand how many times Alabama's lost at home in the last 10 years at Bryant-Denny. So you have to consider that. Clemson, maybe not. I don't know. Ben Hill Griffin, I saw 2 times last year when Florida lost at home to Texas. I mean, I've seen Florida lose at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium to Kentucky, for God's sakes. All right, then you've got Oklahoma, who's hit hard times. Oregon has to be higher because they always win. And Michigan, okay, maybe. But where's Tennessee in the last 3 years? That's not an easy place to play. Where's Texas A&M? You've never heard anything as loud as Texas A&M, except for maybe LSU. So in terms of noise, I say this is a list based on nostalgia and not wins and losses. What do you think of the list? EA Sports.
I mean, I think all those places you can say are loud and big, and difficult to play.
Well, then say that. Top 10 loudest and biggest places.
How did they phrase it?
Top 10 toughest places to play.
Well,
you have to have the home team has to be worth a damn. All right. They have to win home games. They have to put streaks together. There's a couple schools here that have had some hard times at home. Like I said, when Alabama shows up in Baton Rouge, it becomes Happy Valley, not Death Valley. And Beaver Stadium, how many times does Ohio State have to go there and beat them? So whatever, put up the list. It got a reaction from me, so I guess they did their job.
They did their job.
I'm just curious what anyone else thinks, if anyone thinks at all.
I still say the greatest venue in college athletics is at Tiger Stadium.
Like that?
Ever going to convince me?
Yeah. I don't
care. I don't care if Mike Archer's coaching the team.
The place shakes. It literally shakes and trembles. It does. It's true. I've been in that place plenty of times and seen them lose. That's all I can tell you.
The Pouncey twins, Mike and Marquise, invite you to try the mango martinis at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, handcrafted with their J.F. Hayden liqueurs. Try those flavors. Find your favorite at shop.jfhaydens.com. We got JC. We'll have Matt Murschel talk a little UCF, more about Scott Frost coming back and why Malzahn left, and then mostly just his thoughts on obviously the Gators, but the national perspective. He's a national writer as well. Mike on YouTube, brought to you by Quiet Plum, says, what stadium was the toughest for you to play in? I
think Tennessee had to be one of them.
Tennessee was. I lost there twice.
How about Davis Wade or Scott Field or whatever it was called? How'd that go for you?
Well, we lost, but it's not a hard place to play. It's loud because of the damn cowbells. Tony on YouTube, brought to you by Quiet Plum, says, hell, AR won at TAMU.
How about this helmet? Take a look at this, folks. Ask Matt Murschel about this helmet right here.
Who is that?
That is what UCF has brought out as an alternate helmet with the retro Citronaut. Whatever a Citronaut. It's a citrus astronaut or something. Citronaut.
They're not going to wear that helmet, are they?
Well, it was on this website that's got 70,000 followers, College Sports Online. I went and followed it, and there it is. Long live the Citronaut. What the hell is this? I don't know, man. I think UCF being in the Big 12 is definitely helpful, but we always heard about how great a program they were, and then they join a real conference, and I think they're just middle of the road. So we'll see how they do.
Well, they made a good run when they had good quarterback play.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel was a good player.
They have not had good quarterback play lately.
Right. Dylan Gabriel and the kid that got drafted by Jacksonville, who was pretty good. Yes, Blake Bortles.
This day of sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union, we're a proud member, Steve Spurrier Banks.
There you go.
Go in there and cash your check. You may see the head ball coach. You just signed something for you. All right, JC, 2015 NBA draft, Kentucky center. Who do you think it is? Do you know? 2015,
Anthony Davis.
Carl Anthony Towns.
Cat.
First pick of the T-Wolves. He now plays for the Knicks. The draft is tonight. So we'll see where Walter Clayton Jr. ends up.
He'll be a first rounder. I'm not sure exactly where, though. I have no idea. I saw a trade that the Magic made, and then the Trailblazers got rid of one of their best prospects to the Celtics for Jrue Holiday, and that's the extent of my NBA knowledge at this point. I do know that Oklahoma City won the championship, but I was not overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
I have to be honest.
Justice says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Florida has lost much of their home field advantage since Fox took away the Gator bait chant.
Well, I'm very intimidated if I'm rolling in as the Kentucky Wildcat and everybody's screaming Gator bait. There's no doubt about it.
No, it's not that chant. It's when the whole band plays it, JC.
Well, I know, but in the good old days when I was sitting in
and by the way, JC, aren't you a graduate from the University of Florida?
I have, yes.
You know how you just did the Gator chomp incorrectly, by the way.
Oh, for God's sake.
Okay, there you go.
But it's the Gator bait chant was when you're sitting there and the other team rolls in and the announcer would go, the Tigers of Auburn University. And we would all scream Gator. Gator.
Right. But they have it choreographed when the
I
band
know.
plays it,
I know.
and it's loud like that. And
They
they do need to bring it back. In my opinion.
Bring that back. That would
All
be
right,
the only
let's get-
thing I'd say to Billy Napier if he was sitting here right now. Not, hey, are you going to win games this year? Hey, is this guy, that guy going to be great? I want to say, hey, say something about bringing the Gator bait cheer back so the fans can get excited. Do that, please, Billy, and then we'll worry about the game. Go ahead.
Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry, Port Charlotte surrounding areas. It's time for the Peachland Dentistry
My God.
golf picks at the Rocket Mortgage.
This is not a premier event, but this is an event that
There's still good players playing.
They're great players, but the best in the world are taking the week off, and that's fine. But you've got, a defending champion who is lowly ranked amongst the golf rankings, but has won this tournament twice. Do you know
who is the defending champ?
Cameron Davis, and he has won this tournament. His only 2 wins in 2021 and 2024 is Cameron Davis at the Rocket Mortgage Classic.
Well, I get to pick first since I picked the winner last week.
Yeah, okay.
And I am taking Ben Griffin.
Good pick. He is one of the hottest stories going. I think he finished in the top 15 last week. The guy just continues to amaze. He continues to amaze. I'm going to take a guy that's won on tour this year. It's been kind of quiet here recently, but this is the kind of tournament that I could see him really playing well at because of the way the course has been configured and so forth. It's similar to the one he won at, and that would be Joe Highsmith.
Joe Highsmith, the lefty.
Yep.
All right. Where's that big bucket hat?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Siwoo Kim.
Now, what happened to him last week? Why did he withdraw? Do you know?
Siwoo?
Yeah, I think he withdrew last week.
I don't think he did.
Give me, it wasn't long ago that Ricky Fowler won this tournament.
Yep.
I don't know where
he's the spokesperson for Rocket Mortgage.
Yeah, right. I'm going to take another no name that just might shock you. Ryan Gerard.
Ryan Gerard. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Ash K. Batia.
Oh, yeah.
That's his name.
I like that pick. The Indian golfer on tour.
He's an American.
Yeah, I know, but his heritage is Indian.
Yeah.
He's from India.
He's very young. I don't even know if he's 21 yet, 22.
Yes, his family's in. Give me, let's see here. All right, I'm going to take Gary Woodland.
All right, G. Woodland, the Kansas Jayhawk.
At some point, he's going to break through.
All right, I'm going to take the semi, Luke Clanton, the rookie on tour.
And my 4th pick will be, I keep touching the stove with this guy, thinking he's going to break through, and he's just not been able to do it because of his putting. But I'm just going to give Cameron Young another shot. You just never know. It's a long course, 7,300 yards. It's a par 72. I don't know. We'll see if Cameron Young can pull through. It's got a 635-yard par 5, number 4. It's got a 233-yard par 3, number 11.
They don't give a damn.
They don't. They're going to score 17 under, something like that to win.
If you don't have rough, you can't slow them down. So recap the Peachland Denton picks for the Rocket Mortgage. My squad is Ben Griffin, Siwoo Kim, Ash K. Batia,
and Luke Clanton. You're not going to pick
a has Joe Highsmith, Ryan Gerard, Gary Woodland, and Cam Young.
Why don't you pick one more? I mean, we always
want one more. You must have somebody you like.
I do.
I will go with. Let me see who's playing here. I'm gonna go Minwoo Lee because didn't his sister just win the PGA?
She sure did. She just won recently. So Minwoo Lee's a good pick. I'm gonna end it with Colin Morikawa. I gotta have somebody in the top.
He's got to be the favorite, I'm sure.
Well, which means absolutely nothing, but yeah. Right. And then we've got a couple weeks, and then it's off to Europe. It's off to Europe for the Open is July 17th through 20th. And I think that's at Royal Portrush, I think, in Ireland, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Is it not at Royal Portrush?
I don't know where it is. JC, we have a text here for you from Kevin on the Titan MR text line. He said, I might have missed it, but I'd like to hear what JC thinks about the FSU QB talking smack about Alabama.
No, I think that's what you would come to expect. This kid.
You would?
Yeah, because, I mean, he's one of those cocky players who got in the portal. He's going to Florida State. He sees all kinds of athletes and opportunity there, even though they haven't won in a while. But this is a guy, remember, this kid did not perform or stay with Bill O'Brien as his quarterback coach. And to me,
he's not a thrower, he's a runner.
That's right. So you want to run lateral in Alabama? Be my guest. Just the only guy I've ever seen to do that very well. Well, there was two, but the one I saw was Johnny Manziel. He was the only quarterback I saw to run anywhere.
Marshall ran around him a little bit too.
A little bit, but Deshaun Watson wasn't bad either. But I saw Johnny Manziel do it, and that was one of the greatest games I've ever seen a quarterback play in my life. And he won the Heisman Trophy that year in 2014.
So on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, people are referring to about Gator bait. Dan says, poll the previous players if they want it, bring it back. I don't know one player that is opposed to it. I don't know any Gator football or any Gator fan that is opposed to it.
Real fan, yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee you we could do a poll and it would be overwhelming at 80 to 90% to bring it back.
Do one on X, QB.
I don't know how to do that.
You're the Hall of Famer.
You love doing that kind of stuff. Why don't you do it, JC?
Andy, I don't have the following you have, QB. You're the Hall of Famer here.
Yeah, okay? But I don't really post a whole lot. Andy says, do people have a problem with ooh ah during Hey Baby? That's the Won't Back Down song, right?
The Tom Petty song. Yeah.
Yeah, the ooh ah and Tom. No. I cannot stand. We need to do a poll for that too, but that's all the damn students that do that. The ooh ah drives me nuts.
What do you do, QB? During that time between the third and fourth quarter, do you get up and go to the bathroom, or do you watch it, or what do you do?
Yeah, because we're coming out of a commercial break. So Large Fry says, by the way, the alumni size does ooh ah just as much. All right, well, the damn alumni need to stop too, Large Fry.
Ooh, you don't like that Gators got that Rama Jamma?
They don't even play that anymore.
I want that one back. Bring that one back.
That's a great cheer.
Gators got that Rama Jamma. Ooh, ah.
No, that ooh ah's fine. It's in the damn Tom Petty song. I can't stand.
Yeah, it's crazy. QB wrapped up in it all. I love it.
It drives me nuts.
Don't worry, we've only got a couple months left, man.
It's close.
Yeah,
it is closer than you think.
That's right. It'll be here.
It's actually gone by fast this year for some reason.
Yeah, June is almost over. Thank God. We roll into July. Got some things to do. And then August is when I get excited, because not for the preseason football in the NFL, but just the fact that they're in training camp, and the high schools get cranking. You know, it's a great time of year. Just got to stay away from those hurricanes.
Well, we haven't had any so far.
Not so far, but
crazy.
Yeah.
All right, JC. You got anything else? It really, there's nothing going on in the sports world right now.
No, I mean, we could occupy ourselves talking about SEC. On Friday, I've got that schedule on my little mouse pad. I'm going to talk about some of those matchups, but when we get there, I know it's early and all this, but I could talk about SEC football 12 months out of the year if you wanted to. But, I like to keep up with current things that are happening. And, of course, we just got done with the College World Series. And as I've always said, after the College World Series, the sports year kind of ends for me. I mean, you got Wimbledon and British Open, but who cares, right? So that's over there in England. So I don't know. I'm kind of just kind of chilling out. I went to a freaking concert. I haven't been to a concert in 30 years. And so things like that happen in my life.
See, I need to take you to a good concert.
All right, well, take me to a good one.
Large Fry says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Pump, he got tickets to the Florida Duke game at Cameron.
Wow, how did he do that?
He must know somebody.
He must know somebody.
He must know somebody.
That basketball schedule, not to jump too far ahead, but that basketball schedule is going to be a Hall of Fame schedule. I mean, Connecticut, Duke, all these places you're going to get to go watch the Gators play if you want to travel and follow them. There's got to be some other places too that are on that list, but just off the top of my head, UConn and Duke. What else do you need, man? Yeah.
All right, JC, have fun.
Heading back to Gainesville, land of high taxes. And
do not wear that shirt to Publix or anywhere in public. All right, we got to get to Matt Murschel.
All right, good talk.
All right, that's JC joining us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort 10. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll have Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel. You're watching, listening PodUp with Mathews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Meals Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Coach, you know, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Linderos tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Linderos tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Linderos tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Linderos.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by a UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Become a member and see why Gators hate love bugs. Back to the Titan Number Highline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by the Orlando Sentinels, Matt Murschel. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. How are you doing this morning?
Not too bad. Let's start first. I want to talk briefly about the UCF Knights. Year 3 going into the Big 12. Scott Frost comes back as the head coach. Talk about that transition. Were you surprised that he's back?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did it surprise you?
Yeah, I mean, when they were after Gus Malzahn and had resigned and announced he was headed to Florida State, there was a lot of names being brought up, for possible replacements, and some current sitting coaches and some other coaches out there. And Scott's name was kind of thrown out there initially, and I kind of dismissed it, thinking, okay, yeah, I get it. Fans want this; they want to see, they want to kind of capture lightning again in the bottle, and But as the process went along, I kept hearing from more and more people that no, this was a serious conversation. This wasn't just kind of a flight of fancy. And later on, after he was hired, we spoke with UCF athletic director Terry Mahajer, and he mentioned, no, they had multiple conversations. They talked a lot about it. They wanted to see if he was really interested in doing this. Scott himself said, he thought about that and said, this is the only job I want to go after at this point. And wasn't sure if he was going to do it. And his wife said, you need to do this now if you're going to do it. And so all things just kind of came together at the right time. And then and then when they made the announcement, I think it was shocking in some ways, but also too when you consider what the program was and trying to get their feet in the Big 12 and trying to get some buzz back. They'd lost a lot of shine in the last year and a half under Gus. A lot of people felt like Scott's the right guy. I mean, he at this point, you saw the success he had in 2016 that grew into that 2017 season, that magical 2017 season, and people kind of felt like, okay, well, maybe this can happen again. And it's so far, there's been a lot of buzz and excitement about it. It's been a process because, as you know, being out of coaching for 3 years, a lot has changed in the college landscape. And Scott himself has admitted it's taken a lot to kind of get processed through understanding NIL, transfer portal, all that stuff. So, yes, I was surprised, and it's been a kind of an interesting 5 months so far. And it'll be interesting to see how this process goes through over the next couple of years.
And you covered UCF all the time, and they had a great run under Scott Frost. Are you surprised at how he failed at Nebraska? Because I thought he did a tremendous job, and it's shocking how bad they were at times.
Yeah, I think I was more surprised that he never seemed to kind of get his feet under him. And I get some of the challenges there. I mean, he comes into a program where everyone expected so much from him. Obviously, here's a guy coming back to his hometown, come back to his home state. He had success at Nebraska. Tom Osborne was a father figure to him. And everyone assumed right away he was going to walk in there, and all of a sudden Nebraska was going to be, Nebraska of the days of old. And I just think they were so far behind, lacking in some areas, that it was tough for Scott to get his kind of his grasp of what was going on. And the success and the kind of formula that he used at UCF, I just think never translated to Nebraska. The family atmosphere, the camaraderie he had built with that team. I just think he never got that at Nebraska. I think even from the very start, that he felt kind of almost like it was him against the world type, mentality. And I think that was kind of didn't really work for him. And I think for Nebraska fans, as the years went on, a couple of years went on, they just got really okay, you were supposed to be the golden boy. You're supposed to get us to the upper level, and it's not working. And I just think it just kind of flamed out. And it's unfortunate because I think if he could have had the success, or at least had a couple of years of success there, I think it wouldn't necessarily have looked like where he is now. But I also think, talking to him a couple months ago, I think that experience really has shaped him now for this job, because there's nothing more humbling than failing in life. And when you fail, I think you kind of understand exactly what maybe, okay, I need to turn around and figure out what I did wrong, and let's make sure that doesn't happen again. And you start to appreciate things differently. And I think you're seeing that more for him now this time around coming in at UCF.
Annie's question for you, Matt, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melton Law. What are UCF's expectations for Gator transfer Marcus Burke?
I think Marcus will play a big role this year. I mean, I think the wide receiver room is wide open. I mean, listen, they got nobody. They had nobody coming back from last 2 years that had any sort of significant experience. So they had to hit the transfer portal hard. And I thought Marcus was a good addition for them. I think, you look at some of the other transfers they brought in, and all those guys really came in with the idea of, okay, you're going to have a chance to earn a spot here because there's nobody behind you. They have a lot of talented young freshmen that were there that they brought in as inside recruits, but nobody with experience. So I think, Marcus was banged up in spring. I know he missed part of spring with an injury, but I think he's going to play a major role in this offense. I think he's going to be out there either as a starter, or he'll be definitely in the two deep. And I think they need that. They need his experience. They need what he's able to bring for them because, like I said, this is a group that, of all the position units on the team, I think this one is the most uncertain and really kind of one that's probably going to be the one that needs to do the most growth over the next couple months.
Year 3, being in the Big 12, you go to the road games as well. They've had to travel a long ways. I mean, I think I don't know if they've played at BYU and at Utah, at Colorado. I mean, those are some long trips. How's that taking its toll traveling that far within the conference?
Well, they haven't played at BYU. They do this year. Actually, it's Thanksgiving weekend, unfortunately, which I was telling my wife, for my family, I have to go travel. But they get BYU this year. They haven't done Utah in football. and they haven't done Colorado football yet, but they've gone to Texas Tech and Lubbock, which I think so far has been one of their farthest trips. It does take a toll. I mean, the first year they were in the Big 12, they traveled the most miles of any school. They had to go around, and that didn't even include a trip to Boise State that year. And I mean, it was just it's a lot of travel, and you've seen kind of how that can wear on teams, especially late in the season, because if you're on the road and you're traveling to these places like you said, and then you've got to turn around and get back and get ready for some another top team, it can wear them down. I think they're starting to learn as a program how to handle that. Some of the travel that's going on. I know in the basketball program, for instance, I know they've tried to do some things where if they're going to be out closer to the West Coast, they may stay a little longer. They may stay an extra day to kind of allow the players to get, a little bit extra rest. I can imagine maybe they'll try to do that. Maybe with BYU, they, usually they try to get on a plane and head back football team wise and head back as soon as possible, like most schools. But it just kind of depends on where they're at. But you've seen the impact. Now, that being said, I thought UCF fans have traveled really well for a lot of these games. I mean, the first couple of years, I was at Oklahoma when they went to Oklahoma, and it was incredible the crowd they had there. I mean, the first year when Oklahoma was still in the Big 12, they had one of the biggest crowds. And I had Oklahoma people in the press box tell me, this is incredible. You guys brought, we didn't expect you guys to bring this kind of crowd. And I think I've seen it at other places as well. So it's great for UCF. I think it helps their brand a little bit. And I think it's good, again, for the Big 12. They're trying to continue to push this league and continue to show its growth. So you need to see that when it comes to having fans on the road.
Talk about the amount of money that a Big 12 school is going to have now to dish out to their athletes. What is UCF's plan? Is majority of it going all to football?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to do the $20.5 million that everyone else seems to be doing. The Power Four schools are going to do. They've already established that, and the majority. You're right. Like I think it's around 75% of it. That's what I think the general percentage across the country has been for most schools is going to go to football. So they haven't given out specifics yet. They try to keep that close to the vest. I think they're worried a little bit about how other schools are handling things. I mean, but the majority is going to go to football. They're obviously going to put some money into basketball. I think it's around the 15% mark. And then women's basketball, and then you get into the Olympic sports. So they're going to try to fund it fully. Now it's been a challenge. The first 2 years that UCF was in the Big 12, they were only getting a half share of the media rights money. So that's about $18 million. Now it's a big step from the American where they were only getting about $10 million, but it was tough for them because trying to play in a Power Four conference at the Power Four level with kind of one hand tied behind your back is a little difficult to do. Now this year they get the full rev share, they get the full media rights account from the Big 12, which will be anywhere around $36 to $38 million. So they can have an opportunity to fully fund their rev share. They're going to try to continue to expand. They've got multiple facility upgrades going on. They're upgrading the tower on the football stadium. They're building a new gateway that they feel like will help them kind of get some more tailgating and help with recruiting. And the lazy river, which they've been talking about for over a decade, they're starting to work on that a little bit. So they feel like right now they're in a good spot when it comes to that finances.
Florida Victoria's proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators joined today to help make Florida victorious. A few more minutes with Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel. Barone 71 on YouTube brought you by Paulie Pullman wants me to ask you this. He says, can you ask Matt, what's the percentage of UCF fans that genuinely believe they are the 2017 national champs?
That's a good question. It's probably split down the middle. I get people who occasionally will when you mention it to them, just kind of chuckle and kind of say, okay, yeah, whatever. I get some who are very passionate about it. This is a young fan base. If you think about it, this program hasn't been around. It was started in the mid '60s. So anything they can get their hands on is a huge for them. And I'll preface this by saying that across the tower, in the stadium, it does says 2017 national championships. Now, I had a lot of people when they started doing construction on the tower ask, were they going to continue to have that banner across there? And I was told specifically, yes, they want to have that on there. So they take a lot of pride in it. They push it in recruiting. I've had several recruits tell me, yeah, I want to be, look, they won a national championship in 2017. And all technical terms, they did win a championship. I don't necessarily, when I'm writing, I kind of tend to go back and forth on it. I don't necessarily always say they're the national champions, but I think there's a good amount of fans in the fan base who see that as a national championship. I'm not sure how much of that they sell. I mean, I have never seen really national championship gear around the state, around the student union and things like that. But they do want to put hang their hand on it. And listen, I was there for that 2017 season. It was an incredible year. It was an incredible season for them. What they were able to do to accomplish and to go undefeated and to beat Auburn was a big tip to the hat to them.
Yeah. What kind of impact do you think Mackenzie Milton will bring to the coaching staff?
I think he'll be huge. I mean, they've got 2 quarterback recruits right now for the 2026 class, and both those guys I spoke with have talked nothing highly about Mackenzie Milton. In fact, most of them said the thing that's impressed them the most is the fact that this guy knows Scott Frost's system. He played in it. They say when they were watching tape, they watched Mackenzie Milton tape, and Mackenzie's an up and coming coach. He had some time with Josh Heupel at Tennessee. He understands exactly what it takes to win, at this level. The quarterbacks who are on the roster right now, we spoke to them in the spring. They have nothing to say but great things about Mackenzie Milton, talking about, hey, if I want to learn to run this system, I don't have to go, look at a playbook. I just walk over to Mackenzie and say, what would you do in this situation? Mm-hmm. And Mackenzie knows that, because he was playing in it. So he says it's such a great, teaching tool for these guys. So they don't have to feel like, okay, I just got to study a play sheet or, whatever, Frost is putting out there and his staff. They can go to Mackenzie as well. And I think this is an opportunity for him. Scott Frost has talked about wanting to get Mackenzie in as a coach, an assistant coach, wanting to give him his first opportunity. I think if things kind of go well here, there's opportunities for him to step up to either become an offensive coordinator or maybe someday become a head coach.
Yeah. Switching gears, let's talk about the Gators real quick. You also kind of cover the entire country in college football. What kind of year do you think the Gators are going to have?
I think this is going to be a good year. I think a lot depends on the health of DJ Lagway. If DJ's 100%, I mean, again, we saw in the spring he wasn't throwing, and then they kind of went back and forth on that. Now they're saying he's going to be fine. I mean, I think this is a big year for them. I think they had so much focus last year on whether Billy was going to come back, what they were going to do, what was going to happen, and you saw how they were able to kind of utilize. They actually had some chemistry on this team last year, and towards the end, you saw how that really paid off. I think if they can carry that over to this year, I think there's a good opportunity here. Listen, this isn't like it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago where the SEC was Alabama and no one else. I mean, I feel like this is a lot of parity in this league right now, and I think there's opportunities now for a team like Florida to step up and make some plays. You can finally have a chance maybe to find yourself in that college football playoff mix if you really want to be that way. I think they need some of their playmakers to step up. I think defensively, this is a team that needs to start establishing itself. They need to be dominant on the defensive side of things. But if they can get that offense going, and that's always seemed to be kind of a little bit of the factor here or there, I think they have an opportunity. I mean, again, this is I'm not saying make or break for Billy Napier, but I think you should be able to kind of put back all the stuff that happened last year and say, okay, move forward, start building on this, because I think this is an opportunity to do that.
Yeah. When you look at the national perspective, like right now, who would be the final 4 teams you have in the playoffs and playing in the semifinals?
I like Texas. I think Texas is going to be there again. I think you look at what Arch Manning and, having him come back, I think they have a lot of pieces coming back. I like Texas. I think Ohio State's going to obviously be there again. I mean, I know they have some, they're having a new quarterback and things like that, but I still think it's hard to, you don't take a huge step back. I think you can find yourself there as well. I think there's a possibility to getting someone from, whether it's Georgia, whether it's Alabama, whether it's Tennessee. I think, you're going to obviously have an SEC team that's going to have a big factor as well. I think, one team I'm going to throw out there that might be surprising. I think Arizona State. I mean, again, from the Big 12, I think you saw what they did last year. I know they lose Scadaboo, Cam Scadaboo at running back, but I think Sam Levitt's a good quarterback. I think they have an opportunity to make a big statement as well. And then maybe a Notre Dame, if Notre Dame can find their the quarterback situation kind of set up, I think they have an opportunity as well. I mean, the one thing I will say about this year is unlike a lot of years is you look around and there's, because of the transfer portal, because of the parity that's created, there's so many teams now with different quarterbacks and different skill position players that it's not like you're saying, okay, well, these are the 2 teams that are definitely going to be there. I mean, there could be a handful to 10 teams that are going to be in that mix. And I think the playoff also helps helps that mentality as well. You don't necessarily feel like you're just watching these two teams, Clemson or Miami or whoever's going to be there. You feel like you have an opportunity to see a lot more teams be involved in this.
Last thing for you, reach out here, a text on the Titan MR text line from Jonathan. He has 3 questions for you. 1, are the Tampa Bay Rays going to come to Orlando? 2, will the Jags play in Orlando when stadium is being renovated? And 3, will the Magic take Walter Clayton Jr. tonight?
Oh, that's just 3 good questions, actually. One, I could say that there's I'm not in insight on this, but I think that, obviously Orlando wants to be a player in the Rays. I think they want to find their way in there. They've got a lot further along the process than I think most people think they are. They have a good ownership group that could step in there and try to make a run. It just depends on whether or not they can find someone, if the Rays are willing to sell to them, or if it ends up going to someone in the Jacksonville area. The second question was, remind me again. It was on Jacksonville. The Jaguars.
Jags going to play in Orlando? I think they are.
Yeah, I think they are. I think Orlando's done a lot, and with the upgrades to the stadium, I think they're going to end up hosting some Jaguar games. They've done a lot there as well. And then the third question about the Magic taking Walter Clayton, I could see that happening. I could see them trying to bring in somebody. I mean, they've got such a good core now. Obviously, they made the big deal the other day. They want to bring in a good shooter. Shooting is always something that I think that they will love to have. And Walter Clayton fits that mold of what they want to have happen. A guy who can shoot the ball really well, especially a guy who knows how to create his own shots and can play out big time. He's coming off obviously the big year and then winning the national championship. So if I was the Orlando Magic, I mean, why not go and make that pick and see what he can bring to the team?
Yeah. Matt, good stuff as always. We appreciate your time. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter and read your stuff at the Orlando Sentinel.
Yeah, they can go to orlandosentinel.com, or they can follow me on social media at OS Matt Murschel.
Appreciate your time, my friend. Have a good summer. We'll talk to you
soon.
All
right, thanks. You too.
Matt Murschel. Join us on the Titan Moore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. I want to thank JC and Matt Murschel for joining us. And I still can't believe JC actually bought a t-shirt at that concert. It cracks me up. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll have Brent Beard get all his thoughts of what's going on around the SEC. And we'll just keep grinding away here in the heart of the summer. Depending on where you are, try to stay cool. It's hot, folks. It is hot. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.